meeting with a bunch of prospects, you're having great discovery calls, but you know what? It's a competitive space out there. You're trying to figure out how you can break through the noise and actually get more stakeholders a part of the deal so they can progress faster and close quickly. Only if there was a way to get these people excited and want to talk to you. Well, we may have something. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Rebecca Kravitz. She's a co-founder of an organization called Meople. Now, Meople creates board games. I'm dead serious. These are board games and also other card games that they use to grab their prospects' attention, break through the noise, literally advance their deals, close some of the biggest deals that they've ever had, and help salespeople like you and me do the same thing. It's a really, really interesting concept, and we're going to go through it today, and we're going to go through how they're doing it with some of their clients, and then also the play that you can run as an individual seller. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, know that it's designed to do two things. One, to help you to close deals a lot faster, and two, we're going to teach you how you can make sure you break through the noise. Now, today's episode is going to kind of help in both the categories, but more so how you can accelerate deals through the pipeline faster. Rebecca has been in our shoe as sales professionals. She's going to talk about one of her roles where she literally was bringing in $20,000 per year for the company. She's done the SDR work, and she's really taken advantage of the opportunity to be creative as she reached out to some of her prospects. As we dive into this episode, you'll get a chance to hear why she's so passionate about games and how she's using it and steps that you can take and apply. Let's go ahead and get a chance to know Rebecca and see how we can adopt this concept. It's genius. Absolute genius. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hey, Donald. Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to chat with you. I was bragging about you in the teaser there and talked a little bit about you and your background and your sales experience and what you're doing right now. And this leads straight into the topic at hand. I want to know, because you had me on like a cliffhanger since the last time we talked. You're using games, 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 to close some big deals. And I want to know, like, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, are you, like, let's just go straight into it. Everyone is waiting. It's been built up so much now.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I would say that most of what sales is all about is active listening. And
I'm just kidding.
Oh, you got me there. Yeah, it's all about active listening and understanding the challenges and the needs and who your buyer really is. And so when you create something that shows how intently you're listening to their problems and how you can provide a solution, and you take both their challenges and what their needs are and your product, and you create this synergy and build them an actual board game around it, you are going to speak their language and capture their attention way more than, your competitors who are sending them a bottle of champagne or, a t-shirt. Those things are stale in a lot of ways. And so go a little deeper.
Ooh, all right. So I want to hear the story, because this first started. How did this all begin?
Yeah, so I've been in B2B SaaS sales for the last 8 years, and my co-founder saw this custom Pop-Opoly game that we made for my grandpa's 80th birthday last year, and he was amazed by it. It really captured his attention, and he immediately wanted one for his family. So we decided if we could build a software that could allow people to customize a game, and we could create the mechanics to deliver one-off games, we really had something. So it was kind of an experience to build a game, and then we could do all of the manufacturing. So I just dove right in and started doing my research and learning about how we can bring this to life.
It's crazy. So you literally create like and we have a link down, and we're pushing people to the website so they can go check it out. But they're literally creating a board game. Is it and you mentioned earlier as we were talking, it's customized. Like, how does this work with B2B client? Like, say I'm going after, I don't know, Joe Schmo CRM, and it's a small company, and I want to grab their attention. You're saying I use this somehow in my sales process. Where would I bring the gaming, and how do you go about making that happen?
Yeah, so I would say after maybe you have your initial call, you could start the process. Our software is available, and currently you don't have to pay anything up front. You could just start making it. And so while you're building out the game, you can basically plug in their website, maybe some of the things you learned into AI, and ask for its help to create spaces for the game. So you could use the software that we have online, look at ChatGPT, plug in some data points, and then have it help you start filling out the inputs. And then it would be a really incredible touch point if, let's say, there's that period of time where they're like, oh, we're not really ready yet, and the deal is stalling. We're looking at X, Y, and Z. We have to evaluate like other vendors and do our due diligence. And then you hit them with this custom board game that has their branding. I think they're going to be pretty blown away by that.
Do you, as a seller, would I need to come up with what the game, like the parameters of the game and rules and stuff like that, or how does
Nope.
that work?
In the software, we pretty much have it play like a flagship game that people are familiar with. So it's pretty similar to one that's out there. That's pretty common. And then we also, for like bulk orders, we do like custom card decks too. So we're working with a lot of businesses, making them, 100 to 1,000 card decks based around like their brand too. But for the board game itself, yeah, we've handled the rules for now.
Awesome. So as a individual rep, I could go on the website, look at this, look at the game, just put some inputs in there, some ideas, and I'm good to go. But so this concept is really powerful. But go back deeper into this play, and it shows that I'm listening to my prospect if I'm doing a game for them. But what else can, like, how is this helping you, and and you and your team as you guys are connecting with people? Like, I would just love to see from like a sales play perspective, like how it can help me to close the deal. Is it because it's just that it's customized? Is it unique? Just maybe we can spend some time and go deeper into this side. Like, why would you say this work as opposed to the bottle of wine?
Because it shows your intentions,
Yeah.
I think, a little bit more than just like a bottle of champagne would. That's like easy. Whereas, like any gift, right? If you put a little bit more thought into it, that will hit home more for the person who's receiving it on the other end. Because it
Mm.
shows that you care and that you're paying attention and that you're putting in effort and thought, especially in our world today where you can have anything you want on your timeline, the snap of your fingers. Like to actually put effort into something is pretty amazing, I would say.
Yeah. I've seen, like, I've done it before. I remember once I did this campaign. We did like it was like I was trying to get demos, right? And I was
Yeah.
working with a healthcare product, and we were selling to like these behavioral health kind of facilities and blah blah blah. And we sent them like a gift box in the mail, and we it was a lot of some customized stuff, but I gave like some popcorn and like a ticket, like, hey, we want to give you a movie ticket, like a big oversized movie ticket to some of the people. And what you're saying, the response rate was higher because I think it was just the unique factor, but also the simple fact that it was, you said that, it was thoughtful to make that happen. As I'm thinking about this from a leader standpoint, if I'm a sales rep and I'm talking to you and I'm trying to think about this to use this as a prospect that I'm going after, is this something that my company need to be on board with, or is this something that I can do as an individual? What's your recommendation?
Individuals can do it too, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a great tool for realtors, sales reps, because I feel like a lot of salespeople have the flexibility for client gifting.
Hmm.
So it's just taking that action and trying something new.
Now you get me all curious. What's a turnaround time for one of those gifts, like a game?
1 to 2 weeks.
Wow. Somebody can
Yeah.
actually get a game done, pieces and everything sent out. When it comes to the pieces, have you guys seen, like, is it like, the sellers can choose from different types of pieces, or could they, get upload a bobblehead of their, I don't know, a picture of one of their clients, like, their
We
mascot?
haven't customized that part yet, but we will get there. We already have some prototypes built out of like business or corporate related pieces,
Yeah.
like a laptop and like a succulent that you'd put on your desk and a light bulb, a coffee mug. So we'll add in the option to pick from different sets of pieces soon. And we also had the idea of doing like maybe initials as well,
Huh.
but one step at a time.
This is, I feel like I'm so excited about this because it's like a breath of fresh air compared to what we're seeing on the current outreach market side of things. It's everything that we're seeing in new products seems to be more of the mass production concept. Like I'm gonna do, how can I do, 1,000, 2,000 emails per day? How can
Mhm.
I do, create, have AI create, like, I don't know, like do my calls for me or things of that nature. But something like this, I feel like it makes it a different, makes a difference in the way that we're going after net new business. Just your feelings on some of this stuff is, do you feel that there are like this customized approach of selling, is it scalable, or do we not even need to think that way in the scalable
Ye-
sense?
Yeah, I would say so because you could just make a copy. Let's say your flagship game is your brand, right?
Yeah,
Because you want to make it tie together your brand and your clients.
yeah, yeah,
So what you could do is just make copies of the same game and add like maybe a few custom inputs like their logo and just a few spaces that embody their brand. So it feels like it's your logo, their logo in partnership together. Here's a board game. So you don't have to customize every single input. And it can be a way for them to also learn more about your company. So they might not be engaged in reading, you know, every salesperson's emails, but if they get a premium looking custom board game and the cards are all related to what your company does and they're educational, someone's actually going to probably use that and learn about your brand and you're breaking through the noise. And let me tell you, Donald, I
you
feel
get me so
so
excited.
passionately about like targeted, tailored outreach. I was an SDR for a few years and
Yeah,
I built my whole pipeline at my last job myself. I never really had much of any SDR support. And I'm so anti like these bulk sequences that people are sending. When I get those, I'm immediately going to ignore them. They're
yeah,
just annoying and robotic.
yes.
So,
All right, I think I struck a nerve there. I saw you got get up there. You got excited on that part. So let's do. This is gonna be the guys. We didn't plan any of this. This is just me and Rebecca, just like, and I might throw her off now, but just like totally making this on the
ready.
spot. But let's use, because I'm really curious. As you guys know, I've been doing this podcasting thing for like over 10, 11 years, and I come back to doing them every single time because I learned so much from them. But let's take my podcast production company, and I want to use that as a guinea pig. So I'm going after a prospect now. How could I use a game to tell? Because you got me excited with that part. How could I tell them about my business in the cards or things of that nature, but still yet have it focus on them? So let's just do a. This is a workshop.
Yeah. So obviously you're going to know your business a little bit better
Yeah,
than
sure,
me. So I would basically want a little bit of a synopsis, probably. Let's say I was making your game for you, right?
sure.
I'd want a little bit of synopsis of like we would do a discovery conversation right here and you'd tell me a little bit about like what your brand represents, what type of prospects you're trying to target, the conversations that you're going to have with these people and how you're going to pitch yourself. And then whatever those like inputs are, I would like start to categorize them or group them into mostly groups of three, and then there would be about three groups of two, right? And then one group of four inputs. And so I would start to think about it from that perspective. So it's I guess it's hard for me to do it with your company,
Yeah,
but I guess you could
let's do yours. Or
okay. So if somebody were to learn about Meople, how I would send them a
uh,
game just about what we do. So there's two milestones typically on the board. So I would
huh,
probably make milestone one like when the idea was started, so the date, potentially like, Meeple ideation, concept ideation on it was like around March 2024. And then the other milestone might be when we launched in November or our launch party. So those would be like an example of like one section of the board.
yeah,
And then favorite places as a section of the board. So maybe for that, I would do different places where we've hosted events. So we've done Miami, we've done Denver, we've done Chicago, and so on and so forth. So I would just think about kind of the key touch points that we've been through as a company. And then I would tie in, let's say I'm selling it to you, right? I want you to be our customer. Maybe
Yeah.
I'd throw in there, some different guests that you've had on that have been really great episodes and ways that you can start to have your wheel spin of, wow, now I just got this really cool game. I can now use this as a tool for other people.
I love this. The cards. How do you use the cards to tell some more stories about your business?
Yeah.
Just like in the rules,
Yeah, so
or
I mean, the cards are called luck and legacy cards. So
uh huh.
they'll say in some of the cards, it's like a positive, you would gain money, and some of them you're like spending money.
Yeah.
So if it's something positive about, something that we've done as an organization at Meeple, so one thing would be like our first business sale to like, and the person's name. And then it would be like, you would get X amount of money, or it would just be educational about what our product is doing. So we just launched, or we're about to launch a new product called Kingmaker, which is
Mm,
like creating a custom card deck, and you choose the suits and the faces of the king, queen, and jack.
no
So
way.
maybe I'd do like the conception of Kingmaker,
Wow.
like, and then what Kingmaker is a explanation in there.
I'm sure there's some sellers now going into into the show notes and going to the website and thinking about. Everyone has a deal in their mind right now that they're thinking about that they could use this for, to help like push something across the table. Let's go back to just like the notion of, I loved all of this, more stages of how, or let's, sorry, story, because you guys have some clients that you brought on board and so forth. Would you be willing to do almost like you don't have to tell names, but any clients that you've done this with, or a story how the game component was able to help you bring them in?
Actually, definitely. So I went to an event. So I came from this industry called multifamily, and that's who I was selling into, was at a prop tech company before. And I was like, I gotta make my way back into this industry because it's just
Yeah.
such a good fit. So I ended up at this happy hour in Chicago, and we made this multifamily game, and it was like the Chicago edition. So it was like a
No
combination
way.
of funny things that happen in properties that leasing agents can relate to, and maybe some really silly things that, like mystery smell or emotional support pig. Those were spaces on the board. And then, yeah, I basically tied in the background of the city, and there were a bunch of groups there, different property management companies, different vendors. And it felt like our games were kind of a key attraction at this event because it's something unique that people haven't seen before. And so we gave away like about 9 games at this event, and a lot of people were like, I want this for my clients. So I'm working with this company now called Valet Living, and they've made a bunch of games for their property management company. Really does inspire people when they see it live.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the cool things about it. It's like it's you we are so accustomed to doing the status quo. Like this is the way that it's always has been in our industry, or this is the way that's always been, doing sales outreach. So therefore I stick to this same process, or I stick to the same way. But I feel like we're in an era right now where we have to stand out. We can keep beating the dead horse, but like, we can do the mass production of emails, we can do the mass outreach with AI calls and so forth. But I find, Rebecca, something I discovered since the post the pandemic is that people crave that personalization. People crave the fact that you did something for them. And I think there's no better way you can do this like than with a like focus accounts that you're trying to go after. Like even if like in our industry, say if we're trying to get like 30 clients that we're trying to land, if I'm a sales rep telling you like today, and I have some high touches, and some of these people maybe certain qualifications, like they're opening my, they're interacting with me on LinkedIn, they've had an initial call with me or disco,
Hmm.
like can I send them a product in a mail, 30 of them, to these individualized accounts, spend a couple, a week or so doing this stuff and getting this stuff done. I feel that I would have much better results, much better, more effective meetings, obviously if this is going for my ICP, than if I spent those same 2 weeks just making cold calls. And I
Yeah.
think it's it's counterintuitive towards the popular idea at the time right now, because again it's just so we want to do fast. But I honestly feel people just want to know that you care, and what that is you can do that in so many different ways. I'm not saying they have to just use your product, but there's just this idea, can you show me that you care for me? And I think that makes such a big difference. I had a guy last week, and I'll shut up after this, but it was our team was doing a test campaign, and we sent some stuff out, and then it was very short purposely because we were trying to test a couple things out. But anyways, he shot back, and then I was like, as a team, we were asking him, okay, what was his reasons for doing that? And he was like, oh, because I get tons of emails like this on a day-to-day basis. And obviously we tailored and triggered a fix accordingly in our personalized outreach. But the point is that just is not working nowadays.
Hmm.
You just have to do more. No.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe in quality over quantity. It's not, I think we've gotten really lost in this world of, doing so much that we've forgotten that when you assign this ridiculous number of dials or emails to an SDR or a sales rep on a weekly basis, you're actually stunting their creativity and putting so much pressure on them that they're probably going to see worse results. And there's going to be less of a focus on actually booking higher quality meetings with the right decision makers and having these individuals multi-thread because they're getting hit with these, outlandish numbers. Like I've never been a huge fan of just looking at the amount of calls that someone's making in a day or a week. I think it's about, how much am I going to close based on this, right?
The outcome KPIs, the result of that is probably is more impactful. Let's talk to a leader. She's listening to this and she's like, well, I love this idea. It's just hard for me to see how I can start doing something like this. First off, we have yes, they have VC firms pushing them to get X amount of result or investors, but how can they still start and implement this concept, close some of their biggest deals without, blowing up their whole business? I don't know if I'm making sense with this, Rebecca.
Well, I hope bringing custom games to the table wouldn't blow up a business. That would be pretty crazy if it did.
I mean, like stop the whole process, like change their whole process, everything.
Yeah, maybe it's just, an experiment. Maybe
Mm.
you go with one rep first and you say, and they can have support too. Like this is a fun activity for marketing to take part of. It doesn't, a lot of the times the sales reps, and I can relate to this, they're just bogged down with contracts and
Yes.
meetings all day. So maybe you rope in HR or marketing and they can help with the creation of the first game because it's really going to be the first game that's the bigger lift, and then the rest of it's a small lift. But let's say they come in and they get X amount of package of games in a package so that they can get a lower rate, and then they have their team in the software kind of collaborating on this game. It's going to be a pretty short process, and then they just keep making copies from there. Yeah.
You just change out the client logos or things
Hmm.
like that afterwards.
Yeah, and if they're ordering a business package, we can work with them directly and help take some of the lift off their plate, sort of as like a account manager, project manager.
Yeah. No, I love it. If there's one major piece of advice, just like this whole thing, you guys are using games as a way to close big deals. You're using it to close some of your biggest deals and grab people's attention. If there's one major piece of advice you'd give to somebody who is listening to this and thinking about it, what would that major advice be?
I would say go against the grain.
Mm,
I had a lot of success in sales. Most recently, did around 20 million in revenue for the last SaaS tech company that I worked for. And I would say I went against the grain of how traditional salespeople operate. Sales is all about trust and relationships. And making something that shows that you care will help you to create real, authentic relationships.
love that. Trust and building real authentic relationship. And you can't do that over 1,000 email blasts.
That's correct.
Amen. Amen. You sing. We sing in the same choir. I love it. Rebecca, if folks are out there checking this out, they're like, okay, I'm curious now. You piqued my interest. I want to learn about
Mhm.
Meeple. I want to learn about games and how we can incorporate this. What's the best way for them to go about doing this?
They can visit our website and submit a contact form. It's meople, meople.co, or they can shoot me an email directly at just Rebecca, Rebecca, at meople.co. And I definitely encourage people to check us out on LinkedIn and Instagram. We're just Meeple Games on Instagram.
Cool. We're going to put a link down in our show notes. And guys, I know you're listening to this and I know you're thinking about a deal that you can check this out with. Think about this. You can go and get a little bread basket and send that to them, some cheese or some stuff like that. Or you can send a custom game. check this out. And I know it's going to help you to advance that next deal. So go find all the details about Meople. Rebecca, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Donald. Have a good one.
You too. I'm telling you, Rebecca was on point, right? And this was really interesting. And I was going through this because we are looking at this for a contract that's coming up for renewal. And I'm going to adopt this process and utilize it in our outreach to them. Listen, you could do the same method everybody else is doing, or you can try something different. Now, I'm not saying that you need to abandon your cold outreach. Of course not. You want to be creative with that. And this could be able to enhance that process tremendously as you get people on the, inside the pipeline at this point. Can we make this deal go by faster? Can we get more people to be engaged throughout it? Check out Meople and see what they're doing. Meople. Let me make sure I spelled that right. Meople. And you can see all the cool stuff that Rebecca and her team's doing, as well as you can see a link down below to the show notes and that you can get access to the site and some of the cool things that you can take advantage of. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to raise your level of thinking, but most importantly, I want you to go out and do big things. Check it out.